Hey guys. So I just want to look a little bit at the astrology of this full moon. I don't read astrology in a normal way, so if you're a die-hard traditionalist, this may not be the video for you. There are amazing astrologers that follow the generalized curriculum, traditional readings of astrology that are out there that are here for your benefit. Please check them out. Um, yeah, let's see. Let's go. Okay, that's a good size. All right. I'm going to look at certain aspects and what messages came through with these aspects, whatever it is you're meant to know for your highest light and resonance at this time. I channel all of this information. I write it down in my trusty dusty notebook and I share it with you. I'm going to point out to you where it is in the chart and what kind of came through with that. This moon is a moon of separation, a reconciliation of inner separation, separation of outer vibrational inconsistency and friction and misalignment. So those relationships that are just not in vibrational alignment, whether they're good, bad, ugly, or beautiful, are going to be real obvious right now. Same with the separation within you. If you are having experiences where your thoughts are creating more separation for you, you may be experiencing an inner separation or feeling separate from yourself, from your true self, okay? Honestly, because it's in Gemini, we don't know what we're going to expect. We don't know what to expect at this time. It could go in any direction. So just allow yourself to have whatever experience you're having and just witness or observe any judgment or critical or separation you're experiencing from that. There is a massive transmutational energy with this full moon, which I fully expect that people will be transmuting and purging and releasing in whatever way you're going to do that. Some it'll be emotional, some it will be physical, but it is tied to a lot of our belief systems, a lot of the thoughts and beliefs that we adhere to, or the thoughts we have due to the beliefs we adhere to, that create pain and separation for us, right? Anywhere you're judging or being critical or hierarchy, us, greater than, less than, us versus them, it's going to show up. It's going to show up in some way for you to reconcile, and however you're meant to do that. Um, so we have the lovely, we've got the full moon in Gemini right here in the eighth house, which is the transmutational energy. Okay. We've got fragmentation before coming back together. This moon is helpful in the reconciliation of the energetic vibrations you're picking up that may be triggering emotional responses. Now, I was also guided to point out that in this particular chart, because I just take a snapshot of the chart of where the moon's at when it's in its full moon or new moon or whatever. It's Scorpio rising. Do you know somebody that's a Scorpio rising? If you do, you know they feel everything to the depths, okay? Not just emotionally, but very much with the physical body. So if you're having those experiences, know that it is energy that is working for you. But I needed to point that out, that we've got a Scorpio rising energy here, which is going to be indicative of us feeling deeply, okay? Um, The only, okay, so part of where the moon is at, okay, the energy, the message that came through is purifying perfection. The only version of perfection that harms you is the perfection dictated by another who has no idea how to be you. But the real question is it a perfection you're subscribing to? So clearing out any distortion of what perfectionism is or the perfect version of you. And if there's any beliefs that are indoctrinated from other people's idea of perfection, or this ties in a lot with feeling validated or being seen or heard, is if you have to be a certain way in order, in that element of perfection, in order to have value or feel worth. Okay, that's all tied in together. Are you separated from your own perfection? Because everyone's perfect. As hard as that is to lean into, as a Virgo rising, it's very difficult for me to accept that my imperfections are perfect for me. to be able to freely manifest without guilt or shame or consequence. There is a deep indoctrinated belief that we should be careful for what we wish for without any consideration that we are going to have whatever experience we're meant to have, and it's perfect for us. There is no right and wrong per individual. And this moon is like, no, ma'am, we're gonna screw that. Okay. So we have movement of the stagnant energy and inner alchemy. Allow beliefs, thoughts, feelings to make themselves known so you can choose whether to keep them or not. Even if you don't fully know what to do about it at all, allow knowledge and acceptance of what is. Okay, just allow it. I was talking to my really good friend Kara, and I was so angry about something. She's like, maybe, like, and I was like, I hate saying, like, oh, I just hate that person. Oh, hang on. My door is opening on its own. That's okay. I don't know. I don't know when it opened, but it opened on its own. Anyway, I was talking to her and I'm like, oh, I really hate this person, but I felt guilty about it. She's like, maybe you just need to let yourself feel the hate to let it move. And she was right. Like, just but we have so many beliefs about what that means. But what if we just get to have that feeling? What if we just allow ourselves to, then it becomes nothingness because we're not attached to any of it. We're not attaching beliefs to it. We're not attaching consequences to it. We're just letting ourselves feel in that moment. That's how I feel. Is it right or wrong? Who cares? It's a feeling. It gets to be felt and moved on. So I really appreciated that conversation with her. Anyways, so take a moment for a day or even all 14 days in the next like cycle through this cycle to reflect on what being perfect means to you and how it makes you feel about yourself, both when you feel you achieve perfectionism and when you don't. Okay, there's going to be some kind of awareness that comes from that. What was interesting is this had a Queen of Swords vibe. So, do your thoughts make you more accusatory or more understanding? There's something about that Queen of Swords energy. Okay. So they had me look at the moon, and then they had me look at the vertex, which for whatever reason I don't see here, even though I clicked on it. Okay. All right, that's fine. It's in 2 degrees Cancer. So it is here somewhere. So this is where the vertex is. So we'll just put a big X there. Maybe I'll make it another color. Listen, we're just winging it as we go, okay? Okay, so the vertex is like kind of around here, okay? Verti. That's how it usually shows up, but it's in much nicer print and in black, okay? It's in Cancer in the 8th house, okay? So consciously making an effort to stay connected to your higher self throughout the changes that are taking place. So the vertex to me is what we can do to align with our most destined path. So the choices that we can make, what we can do to align to what is for our highest light and resonance. This is the message that comes through the vertex for me. Awareness of feeling sick of the thoughts or feelings you're having or reactions you're having. So if you have awareness of like, oh, I hate, I'm thinking about this again. I sound like a broken record or what have you. There's an opportunity to connect to your higher consciousness and lean into where that's coming from a place of compassion and empathy and understanding for yourself. Wanting to feel and be at peace with yourself and others. There's going to be a deep desire for that. That's your sign. Okay, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to connect to my higher consciousness. I'm going to take myself out of the equation. Okay. Awareness of lower self patterns and coping mechanisms. So becoming aware of the way that you respond and react to things, which is not a place to judge you or to think you're less perfect. But there's an opportunity here with this energy, with this moon, to become more aware of those things and decide if you still want to participate or not. The feeling sick of it, the feeling like you're stuck in the same patterns, the same coping mechanisms, that feeling is a sign that you're ready to shift and transition and shift out of those narratives, okay? There's also accept and acknowledge the stuckness. so that in criticism and judgment, you don't condemn yourself and stay there longer. I think sometimes we're conditioned to constantly mull over things and try to figure them out as if we just figure them out, they'll get better, but we kind of just stay in the energy of being stuck instead of allowing for flow, allowing the surrender of things lining up. And you might need to be like, you know what? This might be above my pay grade because I don't have all the information, I don't have all the tools, and just allow yourself to sit in a state of reception until that unfolds for you. There could be a timing piece in that. Awareness of beliefs and responses that keep you stuck without hope. So believing things have to happen a certain way in order to be good or correct. So if you have belief systems that say, you know what, this has to be a certain way in order for it to line up, you might feel more stuck and stagnant because it doesn't allow for possibility or opportunity or things beyond what you've already experienced. It kind of keeps you stuck in the past in a lot of ways. So again, just awareness of that. So to connect to your higher consciousness, you could meditate. You might want to isolate yourself, sometimes give yourself some time, create a sacred space for yourself, spend time there with just you and your energy. Disconnect maybe from triggering experiences or people that pull you into their drama or pull you into old ways of thinking and feeling. Okay. Um, I don't know what I wrote. I can't read my own writing sometimes. Speak with someone who can hold space and just is on the same vibe as you, can kind of reflect back to you your light versus whatever's going on with them. This says get in. I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back to that because I have no idea what I wrote. I think it's an HA. Get in nap time, maybe? Have a nap? Get in, sure, get in nap time, okay? Taking naps is a good way I know that people judge it, and there's a lot of psychological stuff where they're like, if you nap, you're dissociated. Yeah, well, sometimes we have to dissociate a little bit from the energy that we've taken on so that we can release it. So you do what you got to do. Trust your instincts, trust your intuition, trust what you're being guided, okay, to lean into because it's all okay. You get to give yourself permission, regardless of whatever the belief systems of others are. Okay. All right. So Saturn, they had me looking at Saturn. I haven't looked at Saturn in a while. I know it's in Pisces. I know we got some stuff going on. Here it is in the fourth house down here. Okay. Now here's the thing. An emotional energy for us, but I want to just say this about Pisces placements. They especially anywhere like Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars, okay? Or like a lot of Pisces placements or 12th house placements. These are people who are here to live into breaking down the barrier to love. Um, and when they aren't doing that, it's felt intensely, like it almost goes in the absolute opposite, avoidance and not hatred, but like huge separation. Okay. It's either fully separate or fully engaged in the alchemy of love. But I love people with big Pisces placements. They have such a beautiful energy and they're here to help people, again, break down the barriers to feeling love and experiencing love with other people. So Saturn is bringing a little more practicality to the close personal environment and family relationships. It feels like an emotional tug of war between doing what you need to for you, but not wanting to hurt anyone else in the process. So understand that if you're again, we're looking at belief systems. What belief systems do you possibly have that are making you feel like you have to sacrifice parts of yourself so that you don't hurt other people? Because I feel like those people who are even considerate of hurting other people could never actually intentionally hurt anyone because they're so aware of the pain that they might cause. The problem is that it's also unfair for you to continue to experience pain trying not to hurt anyone else. You can't actually control how other people feel, and you're not actually responsible for how other people feel. And maybe this experience is going to allow them to wake up to the parts of themselves that perhaps they're disempowering by giving the power to you, right? And you having control or power over how they feel. Whether they're awake or not, it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about that. There's no denying that any idyllic picture painted is unmasked and exposed like a raw nerve. So there's going to be a lot of exposure of what is just not okay in relationships and in physical environments. Okay. Can't hide it, can't deny it, can't whatever. Trauma and conditioning passed down through mom or by mom is highlighted at this time. So beliefs that you have that were indoctrinated either through your mom's strong belief systems or through experiences you had with your mom or a mother figure or the mother line. Memories may also be resurfacing, especially ones that made you feel isolated and powerless as a child, rebellious and strategic when you remember you aren't a child anymore. So there may be stuff coming up that's going to be a little bit triggering because it's reminding you of when you had no power as a child. And then to deal with that, you just get a little rebellious and remember that you are your own adult now. It's the perfect time to question the doubt your previously conditioned logic requires. We want to logic, rationalize, and analyze everything. And I understand that understanding brings peace sometimes. It brings an equilibrium and a feeling of safety. But sometimes we can logic ourselves out of possibility and we can logic ourselves into a bigger state of lack. So if you have this sensing and knowing and intuitive sense of something that you know is true, but you can't prove it, your logic is going to squash that because conditioning requires that we prove what we know in order for it to be valid or real. But that's not necessarily the case. It will eventually reveal itself because it always does. But it's allowing the truth to reveal itself in its own time and holding space for yourself so that when you start judging yourself, you question where that doubt is coming from, right? Figure out its source because it's not you. Your source is telling you this is what's true. Your intuition isn't to be doubted. The way you logic and think from program beliefs are to be doubted. This is unlocking the box from the outside. And there's also this, it allows us to accept our own truth without having to prove it to others, without it having to be viable to others, but also in that a recognition that others don't have to prove or make their truth viable to us either, that they can coexist because we really are living our own frame of reference in this world. Then we have middle body discomfort. What came through was lymph node drainage. If you know how to do that, draining your lymph nodes, there's lots of videos on it. There's 6 steps to it. You can do the facial stuff. I've been doing it every night in the shower. It makes a difference when I do wake up in the morning, but just to help your lymph nodes drain a little bit of the energy. This is big catalytic emotional moments that will pass quickly. If you just let yourself feel what you feel, let it pass. You won't hold on to that painful energy. Like for me, when I feel something, I feel like I need to dissect it to figure it out, but I don't need to do that. I just need to let myself feel and be okay with the feeling. And that's not easy, but it's a work in progress. Awareness of what is emotionally triggering and a desire to reconcile that. If there's reconciliation that's meant to happen from this emotional experience, you will not have to pull to get it. You will not have to pull information. You will not have to mull it over. It will be understood. It's something that will reveal itself to you. Observe what stirs emotion and what spurs you. Try not to judge the who or what or yourself from a place of criticism. Just recognize. So, for example, this is something I discovered like quite some time ago. Somebody would send me something and I would have to explain to them why it's not for me. I would immediately feel triggered or reactive to it for no reason. Like I didn't even see the title sometimes. It was just I would see the notification of the message and I would instantly feel a reaction to that. But because of my beliefs, about being considerate to other people and all of these things. I felt I had to explain why this wasn't for me, but I didn't have to do that. So I would pick it apart. I would pick something apart, trying to find out why it's not for me instead of just trusting my instincts and intuition. Okay. Now I'm in a place where if somebody sends me something, I'm like, oh, that's not for me. I don't explain that to them. I don't, I'm like, thanks for thinking of me. I don't acknowledge, like, I don't get into any of that. I just know for whatever reason at that moment, that is not for me. And I get to own that. That's part of my truth. That's part of my sensing and knowing for whatever, not that whatever they're sending me is bad. It's just not in alignment for whatever I need in that moment. And that's okay. So I'm giving myself permission to operate that way, but just without judging the person who sent it to me, without judging the whatever it is they sent me, without judging myself for how I felt about it, just clearing all of that out. So I hope that this has helped, and I'm sending you all so much love, and take care.